Founded in 1940 as a hamburger stand, McDonald's became a shining example of America's fast food industry as it invaded strip malls and cities. Today, McDonald's can now be found in 120 countries. Despite this success, it has not stopped them from being the butt of all jokes on Wendy's Twitter account. Like a petty little sister, she's relentless. As not everything always goes as planned, let's discuss the top 10 McDonald's fails.
McDonald's!
McSoup.
No soup for you!
McSoup is not only the least appealing McDonald's item in a long time, it's also just Campbell's soup poured into a red cup with golden arches to justify the prefix. The McSoup is sold in Campbell's broccoli and cheese and chicken noodle variants, available only in the winter in select locations.
It's chowder!
While the item may have been a bid to imitate its more domestic rivals, it was pulled from the menu because it was also, well, pretty terrible. Its thick consistency and moldy taste just made it a very unprofitable venture. And for America's own good, Campbell's soup cans shall, fortunately, continue to be confined to only cans.
Vented cans at half price. Microsoft went down 3 points.
McDonald's in Vietnam.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Yes, McDonald's can't fit a country between two buns as hard as it might try, but its debacle in Vietnam definitely qualifies to be a part of this list. As a fast food chain with over 36,000 locations across the world, McDonald's could manage only a meager 17 in the Southeast Asian country. Why? Because the Vietnamese are spoilt for choice. When McDonald's entered the market in 2014, natives of the country thronged its locations because of its novelty amongst the usually indigenous cuisine. But over the years, the popularity of the restaurant chain has waned, largely owing to its local competition. Street vendors in Vietnam sell rivaling, faster, and cheaper fast food like pho or banh mi sandwiches. But this hasn't held the restaurant back. In the past 4 years, McDonald's has introduced a number of items into its Vietnamese menu to appeal to the locals, including a grilled pork rice with egg item. But mimicry of available and cheaper options a stone's throw away from their locations has ensured that raking in customers is still difficult.
You twin?
No, we are not relations, sir.
To make its mark in Vietnam, not only does McDonald's need to up its game, but it also has to factor in the political disenfranchisement between USA and Vietnam. Westernization is seen with a contempt that is nearly 50 years old. While franchises like KFC and Pizza Hut prosper in the country, they feature shareable food and many chicken items, which Vietnamese families value, the burger giant pales in the country's international cuisine market.
You were in Nam? Where were you stationed?
Da Nang.
With the log ride?
Yep.
McD's Big and Tasty.
This is a tasty burger.
If you're going to copy another fast food giant, well, the dish better be big and tasty. Forever at loggerheads with its competition, McDonald's attempts to replicate the success of Burger King's Whopper are a long, winding story of love, revenge, and pain. Both fast food giants have taken every chance to throw very public and very amusing airs at each other. The Whopper Detour, Burger King's McWhopper invitation to end bad blood, and so on. But their best and most successful jabs are just good old imitation burgers. The Big and Tasty attempts to mimic the Whopper in every sense, complete with the dill pickles and sesame seed bun.
I'm seeing double here. 4 Crusties!
And while the product itself was not exactly a failure, the adaptation doesn't remotely live up to the real thing. This isn't even McDonald's first attempt at copying Burger King. Earlier failures, such as McDLT and Big Extra, did little to deter them. During its 14-year run, it may have been a failure, but it was an enduring one. The burger jumped between different menus, displacing the Big Extra first, then featuring on the dollar menu, and then eventually ending up being wiped off the menu in 2011. And just like its previous brothers, was a result of McDonald's true desire to be a good, dedicated, and plagiaristic rival. Available in over 10 variants, the most significant variation being a different sauce, the Big and Tasty was sold in all continents when first introduced, but today it's still only available in a few select Scandinavian countries.
Dragonborn.
McDonald's Hula Burger.
Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
Because everything, how did that pineapple get in here in a dish, is Hawaiian, the Hula Burger's etymology speaks for itself. But it was meant to be competition for the way more popular filet of fish, and the burger collapsed shortly upon its release. Created to draw in the Catholic crowd on Fridays who abstain from meat, the Hula Burger was just pineapple and cheese in a bun. The burger, introduced in the 1960s, failed to attract even its target consumers, and gradually fizzled out of the McDonald's menu.
Thanks, God.
Oakley dokley.
Its newer, meatless counterparts, such as the Egg McMuffin, prove that the Hula burger was just a lack of understanding of the customer's tastes and not necessarily a bad concept to begin with.
I do love the taste of a good burger.
McDonald's radio silence.
Viva la revolution!
Let's face it, when you're a giant corporation with a worldwide presence, you're going to collect a lot of haters, especially local competition. Although fast food chains like Wendy's trolling McDonald's practically look like jealous younger siblings, the popcorn-demanding frolic is just too funny to ignore. Especially when McDonald's chooses the radio silence way out. In the past, Wendy's has aired a number of insults at McDonald's. Frozen food jokes? Check. Typos? Check. Broken ice cream machines? Check. Very much aware of the cliches that McDonald's has unintentionally carved for itself in pop culture. Wendy's even threw shade on the Golden Arches in a tweet by HBO about Sopranos, saying nasty patties are only available under the big yellow sign. But while throwing dirt at other companies is incredibly easy with social media platforms as perfect battlegrounds, McDonald's radio silence in response to these digs is rather boring. Even its response to Burger King's McWhopper invitation is just so utterly dull. When McDonald's faces backlash, such as the limited Mulan sauce that sold for a day and failed a majority of its customers, it frequently chooses the silent, or better, one-sentence way out. With so many corporations throwing obvious shade at the company, does McDonald's need a PR revamp, or is it simply the uncaring godfather quietly chuckling into its knuckles? McLobster.
It was a rock lobster!
Yes, I'd like lobster stuffed in a poorly toasted hot dog bun with lettuce, celery, mayonnaise, and lemon flavoring. Remember when you were hankering for a McLobster at 12 a.m.? Neither do we. Introduced as a novelty item during its Great Canadian Taste Adventure, the McLobster is a testament to just how far McDonald's will go to ensure customer satisfaction. Or not.
I'm not quite...
With dollops of mayonnaise that made the claw meats seem like sides, the dish was a failure. While lobster is considered the Great North's most valuable seafood export, it'll take McD much more than a hot dog bun roll to envelop the wide palette of tastes the seafood provides, when done well. A seasonal item made of 100% Atlantic lobster, the roll was also plagued with supply issues and was not profitable overall. The dish is a perfect example of McDonald's unrelenting attempts to fit into the cuisine of different nations. But much like the McSpicy Paneer of India or Bulgogi Burger of South Korea, the McLobster falls McFlat. But that hasn't stopped McDonald's from serving Atlantic Canadians with the McLobster roll for a staggering 26 years since 1993. The item today adorns posters across the Great North throughout the summer, and even the more uninterested customers cannot help but feel a certain pull to the picture-perfect seeming delicacy. But misleading McDonald's pictures are another story altogether. The McLobster is on the menu for as long as supplies last, so you might want to hurry if you want to give it a shot. Or take your time. A long, long time.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
McD's constant media flack.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
No one goes to McDonald's for the health benefits. There is empirical data that you can experience for yourself if you're persistent enough that clearly shows that the long-term McDonald's dining experience badly affects your cholesterol levels, liver, heart, and overall wellness. Regardless of the truthfulness of the claims, documentaries that highlight these facts in painstaking detail have harangued the fast food giant for decades. Media outlets are constantly attacking the restaurant for its unhealthy food, poorly treated employees, and failed menu items, and other restaurants have no qualms about trolling the organization. But it isn't unasked for. With McNuggets that melt, salads with poop, fries with natural beef flavorings, extra sugary ice creams and parfaits, and salads fattier than burgers, its unending health failures invite scrutiny and the disdain of the health conscious.
Get in my belly!
But apart from its obviously unhealthy menu items, many of McDonald's widely known publicity gaffes can be attributed to its scale. It is inevitable that a single mistake taints the entire corporation's value in the international market. But the flack isn't always bad for McDonald's. In fact, even though a majority of its coverage is regarding its health risks and occasional tactlessness, any publicity that an unbreakable corporation with an annual revenue of $22.8 billion receives is good publicity.
Sausage McMuffin.
Foreign objects, McDonald's real secret menu.
What do you put in that sauce? Well, you start off with a little lemon juice and some ketchup.
Food scandals are a regular Tuesday for McDonald's, but foreign objects are a rarer entity in this list of debacles. Bits of plastic, metal, and even a human tooth have adorned its menu in its 80-year tenure in the fast food business. Japan seems to have been the hardest hit by McDonald's foreign objects menu, and the senior executive for McDonald's in Japan, along the same vein of his Western contemporaries, dismissed them as an outsider's job or as isolated cases that don't reflect the quality of McDonald's itself.
Forgiveness, please.
But Japan's stray cases are not a stray case. Evil super geniuses with top secret access to McDonald's food production management have been stuffing food with nails, vinyl, metal, plastic, and human enamel for decades. A Big Mac in Melbourne was once infested with maggots. Plastic and chicken McNuggets in Thailand, and a spear in orange juice that went down an unsuspecting patron's throat in New York are a few of many lawsuits in inedible object form that have troubled the fast food chain and its patrons alike. McAfrika. Good old tone deafness and bad timing. Released in 2002, this item on our list deserves a special status because it didn't fail in taste, we'll get to that later, as much as it did in theme. That's right, released during a major famine in the African countries Malawi, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Zambia, Lesotho, and Swaziland, now known as Eswatini, the McAfrika was either a tongue-in-cheek naming gag or just cringeworthy innocence. To top it off, the item was released only in Norway, one of the richest countries in the world. But the weirdness doesn't end just there. The item was also used as a tradable and limited edition Olympic Games burger, and was made available again in 2008 during the Beijing Olympics, only to be met, once again, with extreme criticism.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber.
The backlash in 2002 actually made McDonald's set up donation boxes in select locations across the country. Acknowledged by the spokesperson as a gaffe on the company's part, the product was nonetheless sold until September 2002, as had been planned, and was sold in 2008 along with an exotic African sauce this time. Needless to say, no one was impressed.
Boring.
McDonald's viral disasters.
Nothing beats a stroll in cattle country.
The infamous pink slime, also affectionately called poultry paste or mechanically separated meat, is a phenomenon on its own, a perfect combination of myth, social media inflation, and quite possibly the truth. But what is impossible to ignore is the fact that no matter McDonald's stubborn refusal that its chicken nuggets first look like giant strawberry ice cream gel, chemical additives and obviously unhealthy practices are recurrent themes in its behind-the-scenes recipes.
Needs more dog.
Although McDonald's dispelled the viral image by releasing a video that details how McNuggets are actually made, the damage had been done, and McDonald's finally had to admit that it stopped using mechanically separated meat only in 2011. Another few viral examples are the moldy burger, for which the poor patron was offered 15 pounds in refunds, and unclean ice cream trays, floors, and bathrooms that each led McDonald's into spiraling PR disaster. But as always, McDonald's emerges to be the resilient tardigrade of fast food restaurants. With hundreds of millions of charity donations, employment of 1.5 million people, and a global presence strong enough to sway widespread opinion with a click of its fingers, McDonald's is a living and breathing concept more than it is a restaurant. The truth is, McDonald's had us at, "Hello, what can I get for you?" We'll never stop loving it.
Welcome to McDonald's. What can I get for you?
Okay, what do you want?
Cheerios.
And we'll never stop loving all of you Babble Toppers for the continued support. So stick around and click on another one of our great videos. And to find out how to become an official Babble Topper, click on the join link in the description below.